All right, folks, we're going to do something here. It's a little different. I'm just testing a new outlay for the podcast. So we're going to go over from Noah's archive here, thanks to Hisame. Noah post-match interviews from the N Innovation Show on Saturday, March 5th, 2022, Yokohama Radiant Hall. We're going to go over those interviews quickly. Not that this isn't worthwhile. This is some cool interviews and you get to hear from the wrestlers. But the main reason I'm doing this video is to check out my new setup, the new look for the podcast, if I can pull off what I'm going to try to pull off. First, we've got Alejandro speaking, the former Aleja of Congo, now of the Noah Juniors. He says backstage after his match, as you can see from today, it is not the red Aleja. I'm Alejandro. And from today, I will do my best to be the center of the Noah Juniors. From now on, more and more and more, I'm going to run to dig into the core of the Noah Juniors. Now, there's Alejandro saying he's going to do all he can. He's going to work as hard as he can to become the center point, the focal point of the Noah Juniors. And that's a big statement because the junior heavyweights of Noah are pretty damn good. So this kid who hadn't spoke a word when he wrestled in Congo as Aleja, is now promising to do all he can to become the center of the Noah Juniors. Interesting stuff. Tadasuke, Tadasuke, still working on my pronunciations, Tadasuke, he had something to say about that. He says, Alejandro, it's hard to say. I mentioned this in the podcast. For Tadasuke to say something's hard to say is saying something. But what is this really? He just changed color and turned white. So what is he doing? Talking. What I have built up so far, what he wanted to do was something like this. Well, bullshit. Those who have really strong belief are coming here, meaning Congo, more and more. So Tadasuke is saying that he's doing nothing special. All he did was change his gear. He went from wearing red to wearing white and now talking all the time. And he calls it bullshit. He says, if you really want to become the center of something, if you really want to become a big deal, then you come to Congo, because Congo is all about a belief, a standard. And he trusts that the people who really understand that are coming to Congo. Then Daike Inaba and Kaito Kiyomiya, tag teaming now, trying to definitely going after the GHC Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. They spoke backstage. Inaba says, Kiyomiya-san, let's go with this momentum. Kiyomiya answered, let's go, let's go. Question was asked of them. Was there an effect when you tagged? You were testing your combination skills. Kiyomiya answers, it's the tiger, and we both did it with that. But because we released it for the first time, it is said that the degree of perfection was a little short. But there is more to come. There is a lot of time. I'm not exactly sure what he meant by the tiger comment, but Kiyomiya basically saying that they're working well together, but they're not as good as they can be, but there is still time for them to become as good as they can be. Question was asked again. There is also the view that Inaba is the key man. That's a big statement for a reporter to ask, in this tag team with Kiyomiya, one of the biggest stars, one of the youngest stars in company history, saying that Inaba is the key man. And Inaba says, if I could take the belt here, then I think I can get involved more and more with the belt in Noah and make myself stand out. I want to have a presence that is twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and 10 times more than before. And ultimately, I want to wear the belt with Kiyomiya. Kiyomiya responds, I really think that Inaba-san's attitude is necessary for Noah. Inaba-san, let's take this and bring Noah with us. Let's make it an official promise. So here we have Inaba saying he just wants to stand out more. He wants to be 10 times the wrestler. He get 10 times the notice that he's ever gotten since he's come over to Pro Wrestling Noah. And I've seen that. I've seen that in Inaba. If you haven't noticed it, take a closer look at his matches. He's becoming more aggressive. He's becoming more vocal. He's becoming more violent, if you will. He just seems angrier. And I think he's using that anger to motivate himself. And Kiyomiya is actually rolling with it. He says he thinks that attitude is necessary. He thinks to succeed in Noah. And if you go back to episode 4 of Mount Ararat podcast, you'll hear me say that Kiyomiya is learning, that he's taken the past year or so to really learn what it takes to be on top of Noah. And that's an interesting statement here when Kiyomiya says that Inaba's attitude is necessary. So could we see a bigger, meaner, more spirited attitude from Kiyomiya? going forward, teaming with Inaba. Something to keep a close eye on, in my opinion. And Kotaro Suzuki was spoken to backstage, or he spoke backstage, and he says, today's match doesn't matter, though aren't the regular Army guys a half-assed gathering? No matter how many of those idiots get together, you can't fulfill your role. Hey, Yohei, do you know what happens to a great extent? It's the same everywhere. If I say I will destroy you, it's definite. There's Suzuki just basically saying that the Noah Juniors are a joke of a group, that no matter how many of them there are, they can't fulfill their role, their meaning. They really, it's pointless. And if he says something, he gets it done, and you can ask Yohei about that. And they spoke to Nosawa Range. They asked Nosawa, there was talk of a no disqualification match. And Nosawa says, really? Who said that? And the questionnaire says, you said it. And Nosawa replies, oh yeah, that's right. Did I say that? Well, I'm okay with a no DQ. Did he get scared? But as you can see, I didn't have to use any cheap tricks. In a word, this is annoying. What is the championship belt for, ultimately? I just cannot understand. Some champions had them removed or returned due to injury, and they became the champions in the championship match, and now you say you are the new friend of the Noah Juniors. Those belts they have are only accessories. Kotaro and I are saying that we will challenge for those belts, so on the contrary, be grateful to us. Well, I could have destroyed him today, but that title match is just ahead, isn't it? That's why I can't help motivating myself little by little. Isn't Kotaro going to destroy him again in Yokohama? Is there anything else? Anyway, the one thing I can say is there aren't the skills. I might be second class, but he's third class. No, I'm being disrespectful to the third class wrestler. He's fifth class. Fifth class. This is so annoying. In the first place, I think he should quit pro wrestling. He's not needed, right? He is not very popular. If he was, then why isn't it overcrowded today? That's all. And what is the current champion doing, saying that he is going to hold an event at Sumo Hall for the juniors? Send more. It's really annoying. I don't understand the meaning of this whole N in the N innovation. Is there anything else? Should I say something more interesting? If not, it's okay. In any case, I can't put it out. Don't come at only such times, you guys. Incompetent media. I want you to report the news properly each time. So let's take a closer look at what's going on. From my point of view, everyone knows that no matter what that they won or lost, so please put down the thoughts on how he gave up today. There's a meaning to my doing this. If this doesn't get through, then it's my responsibility. Anyway, I'm really annoyed. It's always like this, from the top to the bottom of the company. I'm depressed. Hey, I'm sick. I'm really sorry for the rude remarks about the meaningless title match challenge. If there's anything else, I will answer now, but that's all today. Thank you. That's all. Now, the interpretation is very well done by Hisame, so this is no comment on her, but even while interpreting Japanese, some things get lost because it's not an exact word-for-word translation, meaning words spoken in Japanese always don't reflect 100% to English in the correct manner, no matter how well it's interpreted. So if I can break this down, Nosawa here is probably one of the best interviews or backstage segments I've heard from a Noah wrestler, because he really, let's take a look at it again. I'm not going to read the whole thing again, but let's just skim this again. He didn't remember, or at least he claims he didn't remember, that he mentioned a no disqualification match, and he relates that meaning against Yohei. And he relates that to saying, look, I didn't need cheap shots today. I mean, you could argue that it was a cheap shot to take Yohei out of the ring, pull up the surrounding mats, and smash his knee on the floor. But he didn't need weapons. He didn't need backup. He didn't need his crew coming in and helping him out. That's what he's saying here. And Yohei saying he's a new member of the Noah Juniors, he finds is kind of a joke. And that he and Kotaro Suzuki, when they say stuff, they get it done. When they say they're going to destroy somebody like Yohei, they do it. They go out and do it. As you've seen, at least with Nosawa here in this match, and in an upcoming match with Kotaro Suzuki. We'll see what happened there. And he talks about them taking the junior belts away from the former champions. Susumu and his partner, whose name always escapes me when I don't have notes in front of me. Excuse me, I've got to get a drink. And I don't have one in my little refrigerator here. He goes so far as to say Yohei is a third-class wrestler, and then quickly changes it, says he's insulting the third-class wrestlers, and he's really a fifth-class. And he finds this all annoying. He finds the support from the media of Yohei extremely annoying, even throwing out there that if he's so popular, why wasn't there more fans in the building for this match? Yeah, that's a pretty big statement in and of itself. I mean, I mean, this Nosawa was saying, look, if he's so popular, people love this guy so much, nobody came out to see him try to beat me, did they? He might as well quit. He might as well retire. And he also complains about Harada continually going on about holding an innovation show just for the juniors. I mean, they're kind of annoyed by that, and goes so far as to say, "What does the N in innovation mean?" Which I agree with. I thought maybe it was just something I was missing in translation from Japanese. The N innovation. What's the N for? If Nosawa was asking that question, then I don't feel stupid asking it myself. What is that for? I'm not knocking it or putting it down. The shows are good, but shows are great. But what is the N for? What does it stand for? Something in particular? I don't know. And then he goes on knocking the media, that they chase after certain people, and he's kind of sick of it. He's to the point where he's almost depressed about it. Um, put down the thoughts on how Yohei gave up today. Yohei, he's seeing Yohei as people's big hero, the lost boy. That's my words, which I'm actually kind of fond of Katoge. Katoge takes in these lost boys, and all of a sudden they're popular. And as we saw earlier with Alejandro, and some of these guys are getting tired of it. They're asking, well, what do these guys do that's so special other than change their faction? Change their gear. They didn't do anything to deserve championships in this limelight. While you got guys like Nosawa and Suzuki doing what they say, whether you like it or not, they do what they say. And he pretty much dismisses them at this point, saying he's sick of talking to the media. I like that. I thought that was a pretty good interview. And the media also spoke to Atsushi Katogi. Katogi says, in the ring, I was a little nervous and spoke fast, but what I really wanted to say is that on April 29th, all the junior warriors are really heading towards Sumo Hall with all their power. That's what I really wanted to say. The match with Ohara was realized, but it wasn't straightforward. So maybe all the Noah juniors are really positioning because things like this can happen, and it may happen more and more in the future. Daisuke Harada made a bold statement. Let's do Sumo Hall only for the juniors. I think it's unheard of, but I'm prepared to do it in any case, and I want to fight with all of my might and never give up. Look, guys, they're hyping this big time, as you can surely tell. This April 29th show, the Innovation show, that is going to be all juniors. Now, Kaito Kiyomiya is really petitioning to still be on this show, so we'll see. And he says that he realized, the match between him and Ohara happened here, excuse me, which was good, but he feels maybe wasn't at the height that it could or should have been. And maybe we could see it again on this April 29th show when it's only juniors. They're really trying to show the world what junior heavyweight wrestling looks like. That's my thought. That's my hope. Because junior heavyweight wrestling doesn't have to be about nothing but high-speed flips and dives. And these guys, while they can incorporate some of that stuff and do it well, they don't rely on it. And that's what I think they're trying to show the world. That's my hope. That's what I want to see. Questioner asks, looking back on the match with Ohara, Katogi answers, I knew Ohara's ready attitude before the match. But the way I came also has a belief. Before the match, he said something fucking cheeky. But I'm glad that we had a match where we could really talk. So Congo's big thing is that their faction, their group is about a belief. And what is that belief? That's something we'd have to break down in a whole other video. But they're just all about Congo. They're all about a belief about what wrestling is supposed to be. And that's why I love Congo, because I really see their belief as true. What Congo represents is straight wrestling. No nonsense, no silliness, no gaga. Just get in there and kick somebody's ass. And Katogi saying he came into this match with a belief of his own, which he doesn't expound upon, but since he won it, his argument obviously is that his belief is stronger than Ohara's, that he knew the attitude that Ohara was going to come with, and he turned himself up, the volume of his own belief up, to match Ohara, and actually won the match. And the reporter asks, it was said that you had no belief by changing your partner. So he was teaming with Ohara, then rescued Yohei from Paris Damal de Hopon, and the reporter says, people said you don't have a belief, that you sort of wander around saving people that need rescued, the Lost Boys, as I've dubbed them. So you don't really have a belief because you flip-flopped your partner from Ohara to Yohei just out of the blue. And Katogi answers, even if Ohara did interpret it like that, I want to revitalize the Noah Juniors. I have a feeling that if you're at a loss and you regret it, go. It may seem like I have no beliefs, but I go by my emotions and I don't regret it. So that was Kotogi's answer to flip-flopping partners, basically saying that's not true, basically saying that Ohara interpreted it like that. But really, Kotogi's motivated by revitalizing the Noah Juniors, right? He wasn't motivated by, let me switch partners here, let me switch partners there. He was motivated by taking anybody he could into the Noah Junior regulars and making them as big of a deal as possible. And if Ohara's belief made him want to leave, then go ahead and leave. And that may make it seem like he doesn't have strong convictions, but he wrestles. He goes by his emotions, which I'm not sure what I think of that. Going by your emotions isn't always a good idea, but he says he doesn't regret that. And the reporter asks, the junior tag battle is coming up. And Kotogi says, the momentum of the juniors will not stop until Sumo Hall, again, referencing April 29th. And I have no intention of stopping momentum either. May the exception go up more and more. Of course, the junior tag belt will also be defended. That is the highest priority on top of the Sumo Hall event will be visible. More importantly, I will face the junior tag championship. So he's saying as important as the Sumo Hall show is on the April 29th for the juniors, the GHC Junior Tag Team Championship is more important to him and is what he's most focused with Yohei, and that they will defend it proudly and they will defend them successfully. So that's your interviews after the Innovation Show. Again, that's from Hisame. She translated it from noah.co.jp, and the picture credits come from noah.co.jp as well. Again, you can find the Noah archive with all this information linked at my website, wrestlingdoneright.com, that I call the Noah Network. Is this something you'd want to see more of? Me going over the interviews from these shows? Maybe I should incorporate the interviews into the coverage of the shows when I do them. Just some thoughts. Let me know what you think of the layout. I'm hoping it works out the way I want it to. I'm still new to video editing, as anybody experienced can probably tell, but I'm not going to spend a pile of money to have a professional editor or even a semi-professional editor help me out with this, because I'm not making any money on this podcast. If I could, leave my workplace and do this for a living, I'd gladly pay someone to do the video editing. But this is just something I'm doing for fun and as a hobby myself, and hopefully you appreciate it on some level. And if you're better than me at it, well, good. I'm happy for you. If you have any free advice you want to give me, I'll gladly take it. And until the next time, guys, I'm Adam Lavelle from WrestlingDoneRight.com. Come aboard the Arc Pro Wrestling Noah, Wrestling Done Right.